Hello again, everybody. I've been thinking all day about what I wanted to say in today's daily vlog. And I've been kicking around a bunch of different things that I'm probably going to get to later on in the month. But something happened today that really kind of cemented what I felt that I needed to talk about today. And it's a subject that some people are very, very familiar with, and some people are not familiar with and just have no understanding of it whatsoever. So today I'm going to start with a story. It's story time. Once upon a time, I was cleaning my apartment. It's still not all that clean, unfortunately. But as I was cleaning, I accidentally dropped some glass bakeware, and it shattered all over my floor. It is now completely worthless unless I want something to like step on and destroy my feet. Other than that, yeah, it's a complete mess. It's completely horrible. And it really set me off on a kind of a weird, dark path because of my own mental state in general. For those of you that aren't aware, I have diagnosed clinical depression. It's been something I've struggled with since I was about 19. I was diagnosed when I was in college, and it's been really tough. They put me on some medication for it for a while. My body didn't react very well to it at all, and what ended up happening was it created more problems than it solved. So after being on medication for somewhere between about 6 to 9 months, I took myself off the medication, which any of you out there that are thinking about doing this, talk to your doctor first. I was lucky enough that when I conferred with my doctor, he agreed with my decision, but never, ever, ever decide that you know better than your trained professional doctor with multiple degrees and, you know, an ability to practice medicine. That's literally what we pay them to do. However, for me, medication wasn't the way to go. And so I found other ways to deal with the depression without medication. And that's what I want to talk about today. A lot of people don't quite understand what depression is, and even fewer people understand how to deal with it in effective ways. Depression is not feeling sad all the time. Depression is not, you know, being, you know, crying or, you know, feeling that, you know, the world hates you or something like that. It's not anything so simple to explain. The only way I can really describe it is depression is hopelessness, is what it actually is. It's not that you're sad, it's not that, you know, you're upset or you're angry or anything like that. You literally feel like there is no hope. Nothing you do will ever change your life. Everything that happens you have no control over, and you're simply going to exist in this state of mind until you die. And that's one of the reasons why some people decide to take their own lives, is the idea that, you know what, if this is never going to get better, why prolong it? Let's just finish it. And this is a really, really deep, dark, heavy subject. And, you know, yesterday I kind of a deep, heavy, but uplifting, and that's what I'd like to do here too. So getting back to my story, as soon as I broke that bakeware, I started going down a path that was not going to help me at all. That specific piece of bakeware I use all the time. I make casseroles in it. I literally, for probably about a year and a half, I used it almost every night that I cooked because it's a really fantastic, useful piece of equipment. And I bought it back when I first got out of my folks' place, and I've had it for forever. And now it is a giant pile of glass on my floor. And I started thinking about how I'm not going to be able to buy the food that I'm used to buying because I no longer have a way to cook it, and I really can't afford to replace it right now because I'm in between jobs. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And then as I thought more about it, I'm like, well, then, you know, in a week and a half, I'm I'm not going to be able to cook anymore because I won't have the money to do that. And in another month, I'm not going to have an apartment anymore because I'm going to be wasting all this extra money on food so I don't die and I won't be able to afford my rent. And then I've got all these other bills. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was lucky enough that I saw where I was going and went, no, I'm going to change this. And this is something that I've done for years to really help me get through my depression. And it sounds almost like an oversimplification, but it's really one of the most difficult things in the world to do when you're in this mindset. And that is simply to sit back and go, okay, this is done. This is over. I broke my thing. I did it because I was stupid. I had it stacked on some things that weren't all that steady. I dropped it on the floor because I wasn't watching what I was doing. It was my fault. It's over. It's done with. There's nothing in the world that can fix this now. So I need to move on. I need to start making plans about what else I can do. And a lot of times just living in the moment for a little bit is what helps me to get to the point where I can start moving forward. Today it was, okay, I can't use that to cook, so I'm going to cook something else. I've got chicken roasting in a barbecue marinade in the oven right now. I'm really happy about that. I've got a few other things that I'm probably going to cook up with it just so I have, you know, a nice balanced meal. And that was enough to get me past that point. It was just one tiny thing that I could control, that I could do right, that was my fault, that it went the way I wanted it to. And just that tiny little bit of hope was enough to get me out of my depression, enough to even make this video. I was going to think about just not doing anything. And that, I think, has been what has kept me going, what has kept me from becoming suicidal in the, 6 years since I've been diagnosed, and the close to 5 years that I've been unmedicated. It has been the idea that a tiny bit of hope, just the tiniest little light of hope, can completely obliterate the massive darkness that is hopelessness and depression. So for anyone out there that struggles with depression, whether you're on some sort of medication, whether you haven't taken that step yet to go talk to a doctor, which I highly recommend, maybe you just maybe it's just something that you need to speak over with a counselor or a therapist or anything like that. These are all fantastic ways that I highly recommend being able to do that. But sometimes getting to the point where you can ask for help is the most difficult thing in the world. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to focus on something that you can do and just get that tiny, itty-bitty little speck of hope back in your life. You know what? If I could figure out what to do tonight, I can figure out what to do with the rest of it. Okay? I'm not going to be unemployed forever. I'm not going to have money problems for the rest of my life. My life is constantly changing. The person I was last year is nothing compared to the person that I am now. So, again, anyone that's struggling with depression, or even if it's not a full clinical depression, you're going through one of those points in life that just sucks. Remember, just the tiniest bit of hope can bring you out of a pit of darkness and really help you to get on and move on with your life and continue to live the amazing thing that we call life for another day. So that's all for me today. Again, what I'd like you guys to do after this one, let me know some of the things that you struggle with, some of the things that make you doubt yourself. Maybe it's not depression, maybe it's just self-image issues, or maybe it's an inability to speak in public, anything like that. Let me know what it is that you guys struggle with and how you get past those struggles. Or, you know, ask other people in the comments, ask your other friends, how do you think I should deal with this, and let's try and just help everyone become better people. Well, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.